So the glass has to be gathered out of the furnace. The glass is about 2,100 degrees. It's then shaped in what we call a block, which is a wooden mold to shape it. And then the glass blower blows into that to start the bubble. And then that's gathered again with more hot glass on top of that. The molds are hand carved. They're made out of cherry wood. And each mold produces a shape for each design. The molds have to be kept in water so that they don't burn. And they last for 200 to 300 pieces, maybe 500 pieces, before they have to be remade. When the hot glass is blown into the mold, the glass blower has to be really careful about the distribution of glass. He has to make it so that it's got the right thickness at the bottom and the right shape. So it's a very skilled job for figuring out how to blow into each shape. And of course, Blenko produces many different shapes. So the glass blower has to know how to do each one of those. And it's not as simple as just blowing a bubble into a mold. Once it comes out of the mold, it's not finished. It has to be turned around. And that's done by sticking a punty on the bottom. So you see this small gather of glass that's on the end of a steel rod that's touched onto the bottom. And then the piece can be chilled with water at the neck and broken. It falls off the blowpipe. And then the glass worker then takes that to the glory hole, and the glory hole is used to reheat the glass. And it has to be reheated so that the rim gets warm and soft. Once it's warm and soft, it can then be open to the desired effect. And that is the most highly skilled job. And Randy, the gaffer, does that job. He warms up the glass the way he wants it warm, just where he wants it, and then opens it according to the design. Sometimes it requires bending, sometimes it requires tweezering, sometimes it requires shearing. There's all kinds of finishing that has to be done. And he decides when the piece is finished and if the piece is the correct shape. So once the piece is then finished the way it needs to be finished, it can get put away. And you don't just leave it out in the open air. It has to be cooled down gradually. So it gets put onto a forked stick, then it's carried into the leer. And the leer is what they call an annealing oven, which cools down the glass over 5 hours. It gradually cools down from whatever temperatures it's at, usually about 1,000 degrees, all the way down to room temperature. And so in 5 hours' time, those pieces will be completely at room temperature. And that's the process.